right, she's handing you out a copy of our PowerPoint if you want to have that for reference. This year, our school was able to participate in the ACT grant and have an ACT team. This is Principal Mrs. Webb. I'm Jessica Davis. I was the community engagement leader. Laura Carroll was our assessment and accountability leader, and she's actually presenting an ARI grant in another room. And then Sheila Branham was our other teacher representative who wasn't able to be with us today. So this is just kind of some information.
Like she said, my name is Katie Webb, and I'm the principal at the elementary school at Paintsville. This is my 5th year in that role. In my former life, I was a 5th grade teacher for more years than I care to count. The year 2014-15 was a pivotal year for us. We really wanted to focus starting that year in our reading and our math and see what gains that we could make. And we made very intentional strategies on how to go about that, working in professional learning communities, going back and reviewing our standards, working in teams, going to trainings. And we really focused for 4 or 5 years there on reading and mathematics. And we made some very good gains during that time. Last year, we started looking at our writing. And not just in 5th grade, where they're assessed on demand. We looked at our writing across the board, K through 6, our whole school. Because we felt from work samples from our students, as well as our 5th grade on-demand scores, that we weren't where we wanted to be. Our kids weren't where we needed them to be in regards to writing. About that time, I was having a conversation with Jennifer Carroll and talking to her about the needs of our kids in relation to writing, and she said that would be perfect for the activating catalytic transformation work. And I said, wonderful, what is that? And she explained it to me. So it was like the opportunity came along right at the right time for us. We already knew what problem we wanted to tackle next, and being part of the ACT work was a way to get the resources that we needed to do that work.
So this is just basically in big words what our problem of practice was. Based on the data gathered through a variety of sources, it has been recognized that the overall writing needs of our students are not being successfully addressed. As a result, our students are not able to express themselves through writing adequately. This is preventing the students from communicating their thoughts effectively through writing. And then our linking statement, our theory of action, our plan was that we will intentionally focus on professional learning opportunities and the acquisition of writing resources in order for our teachers to gain better proficiency and comfort in teaching writing, and that our students will benefit from more research-based writing strategies. So our plan was to intentionally focus, look into those writing resources, and Sheila and Laura that aren't here spent a lot of time diving into different resources, looking at teacher blogs, looking at different things, different programs, and of course there's no one program fits all materials. Our long-term impact for our students was that we want them to be able to effectively relate those thoughts and ideas into writing. So we didn't want the students just to focus on those writing scores. We wanted the students to feel comfortable in writing on a daily basis, in reading, in math, in science, in social studies. In 6th grade, we focus on that transition goals, starting a resume, starting real life application of writing, and they don't have that fear of, okay, we're going to write today. Short-term impacts was looking in the regular classroom throughout that daily writing. I'm going to let you talk before I go on to that.
Thinking back to the years I spent in the classroom, one of the things that I really was not a huge fan of was a lot of mandates where everyone had to do everything the same way. I see a few heads shaking back there. And we decided that the best way to tackle this issue was to give our classroom teachers freedom to pick the resources that they felt best suited their needs, the needs of the kids. So like she mentioned a few minutes ago, Miss Carroll and Miss Branham spent a lot of time working with the other teachers in our building and teachers that they knew that worked elsewhere, coming up with a comprehensive list of writing resources. And then we met with our teachers throughout the building and said, here's a comprehensive list. If you know of other things that you feel might benefit as well, you have the ability to order up to $300 of these resources for your classroom. And we will fund it through the ACT work. And we spent quite a bit of time ordering resources. And this was for every teacher, not just the language arts teacher. It was the math teachers, the science teachers, the social studies teachers. Everyone had a hand in this because writing is in every subject, not just in language arts.
So we did talk about that we didn't do a lot of comprehensive things, but one of the things that we did, and the light didn't work in, was the Foursquare, and that's an old resource that we've pulled back in to try to have one thing, that a brainstorming technique that does go across the board. So even though they were using different resources to teach writing throughout the different grade levels, we picked a couple resources that could be used in different ways that teachers would have the freedom to use, and the Foursquare was one of them that we bought for every grade level. And then these are just some writing samples so you can kind of watch as the writing has grown. We did intentionally focus on putting the students writing in the hallway this year to show that the students are writing. We have one bulletin board that is a common area, and each grade level each month their work was on that bulletin board. And of course your younger students are really excited to see their work on the common bulletin board. Your older students are happy, but they're probably hiding it internally. So that's first grade samples, some second grade samples, third grade samples, and as you can see, the pieces are getting longer and longer. They're still adding the art with it. Some fourth grade incorporated. That's where we start incorporating the typing of the writing and the typing skills. That's another thing that we purchased with the ACT grant, was that our computer teacher has a typing program to focus on the actual typing skills rather than the picking. A lot of kids are used to using devices, but most of them are used to using a touchscreen device. So she had a hard time, even with the younger students, using the mouse control on a true computer, and the true typing skills and the speed of the typing.
We also have the one-to-one initiative in 5th and 6th grade with Chromebooks. And to go in there and watch them hunt and peck on the keyboard was painful. So this was another way to go about remedying that problem. And years ago, we did typing instruction. We had gotten away from it. And we knew that it was time to go back to that. So we used this opportunity to purchase that resource as well.
And then one of the other major parts was community engagement. And so we focused a lot, or that was my portion of it, was focusing on getting writing out in the community, talking to community members about writing. Sorry, I'm going. So there's a picture. We had a community writing night rather than just a reading night, where students were able to participate with their parents in a storytelling event, and we did a digital learning event there. And